In the boundless and magnificent cosmos of swallowed star power is both a gift and a curse. It is the measure of all things. The defining force that shapes civilizations, determines the fates of races, and decides who ascends to eternity or who is cast into oblivion. Within this endless ocean of stars, few stories are as tragic and profound as that of the disciples of the mountain sitting guest, Luo Feng among his three disciples Puti, and Luo Feng. Each carried the hopes of the earth lineage, each bore the weight of destiny, yet their fates diverged in ways no one could have foreseen, and the choices they made became a reflection of their hearts. Yandi, the second disciple, was once a name sung in reverence across the human race with unmatched talent, indomitable will, and an innate gift for both combat and cultivation. He was the pride of earth and the greatest hope of the mountain. Sitting guest, his soul strength surpassed even his peers. His willpower was firm, and his ambition towered above all. To Zushan Yandi was meant to be the perfect vessel, to inherit his will, to carry the legacy of vengeance and hope across the cosmos. Yet, as with all, bright flame's brilliance often burns too close to arrogance. As his strength grows, Yandi's heart begins to twist. What was once pure pursuit of strength became greed for control. What was once confidence turned into selfish ambition. Zhu Shanke had seen this pattern before. Countless disciples across the ages had been consumed by their own brilliance. Unable to bear the burden of their potential, Yandi's ambition was vast. His desire for power unending. He trained obsessively, seeking to surpass every boundary to become the strongest being in the universe. But in that pursuit, he began to lose sight of something greater: the bond between teacher and disciple, the unity of the earth lineage, and the responsibility of one chosen to represent an entire race. When the time came to attempt the ultimate trial, the recognition of the Star Tower, Yandi faced his greatest challenge. The Star Tower, one of the three supreme treasures of Luo Feng, was more than a weapon. It was a test of soul, will, and purity. Those who entered faced 0 years of unrelenting torment, their souls torn apart, rebuilt and torn again, until only the truest essence remained. Yandi failed. His will was strong, but his heart was impure. His obsession with power became his undoing, for the Star Tower was not something that could be claimed by strength alone. It demanded selflessness, clarity, and purpose beyond personal desire. When he emerged from the trial, battered and broken, the disappointment in Zhuo Shen's eyes was unmistakable. It was a wound that would never heal from. That day onward, a shadow grew in Yandi's heart. He realized that he could never again be his master's chosen successor. The Star Tower had rejected him. The hope of inheriting the full legacy had slipped through his fingers, and when whispers of a new disciple, Luo Feng, reached his ears, the bitterness crystallized into hatred. Yandi's fall was not sudden. It was a slow descent into darkness, 1,000 small choices driven by pride and fear. When he learned of another treasure, the original Soul Hall, his greed flared once more. The original Soul Hall, alongside the Calamity Armor and Star Tower, was one of Zhou Shankai's greatest treasures, an artifact that could control souls, dominate minds, and elevate its master to unimaginable heights. In that moment, Yandi made the choice that would forever seal his fate. He turned his back on his teacher. He stole the original Soul Hall, and in doing so, he betrayed not only the trust of Luo Feng, but the entire human race. The betrayal sent shockwaves through the universe. The once glorious disciple of Earth had become its greatest traitor. Yandi aligned himself with a hostile race, one that promised him power, recognition, and the means to surpass his limits. But the cost was his honor, his heritage, and the last vestiges of loyalty that tied him to his origins. To many cosmic beings, this was not surprising. The universe is a cruel and pragmatic place where morality bends before power. Across the countless races of the cosmic sea, defections were not rare. Powerful beings often abandoned their native races, seeking stronger alliances, greater treasures, or broader territories. In a universe ruled by the law of the jungle, betrayal was not evil, it was evolution. But to Luo Feng and to the humans of Earth, it was unforgivable. Luo Feng, a god king of immeasurable wisdom, did not act rashly. He did not hunt Yandi himself. He had foreseen this possibility and had already begun to shift his plans. The resources and treasures once meant for Yandi were redirected to Luo Feng, the new successor, the final disciple, and the one who carried both the burden of vengeance and the hope of redemption. And so the Calamity Armor once forged for Yandi was bestowed upon Luo Feng, a symbol of power but also a reminder of betrayal. While Yandi immersed himself in the darkness of ambition, Luo Feng's path was forged through perseverance and sacrifice. Unlike his senior brother, Luo Feng never sought strength for its own sake. He sought it to protect and to restore balance. His will was unshakable, his loyalty unwavering, and his belief in humanity absolute. When Luo Feng finally passed the Star Tower trial, a feat Yandi could never achieve, their destinies became forever intertwined. What one failed to obtain, the other achieved through integrity and selflessness. It was as if the universe itself had chosen to highlight the difference between them, one driven by greed, the other by responsibility. The irony was painful. The treasure Yandi desired most, he could never claim the inheritance. He tried to steal, he could never possess, and the brother he despised, Luo Feng, became the rightful heir to everything he had abandoned in the end. When the Calamity Armor glowed upon Luo Feng's body, it symbolized more than inheritance. It was the verdict of fate itself. Zhao Shangkai's decision not to confront Yan Di personally was not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom. He knew that true succession must be proven, not granted. By leaving the confrontation to Luo Feng, he created the ultimate test. Could Luo Feng, the youngest disciple, surpass his senior brother, cleanse the sex shame, and prove himself worthy of the complete legacy? This was not just vengeance, it was destiny manifesting itself through choice and consequence. As Luo Feng grew stronger, traversing the cosmic sea and battling gods, his name began to resound across the universe, echoing the rise of a new era. And somewhere in the endless expanse, Yandi watched, consumed by resentment, knowing that the future he once dreamed of now belonged to another. In the grand scheme of the universe, their conflict represented more than a clash of disciples. It was a collision of ideologies. Yandi embodied the raw and selfish survival instinct of the cosmos, the belief that only power mattered, that loyalty was a weakness. Luo Feng represented something rare, a force that transcended the brutal logic of the universe, a power born not from greed, but from conviction. And perhaps that is why in the end Luo Feng triumphed. Yandi's downfall was not due to a lack of strength, but a lack of purpose. His selfishness corroded his potential. His betrayal severed the very roots that could have nourished his growth. No matter how high he climbed, he stood alone, and in the universe, even gods who stand alone eventually fall. Luo Feng, on the other hand, carried his lineage, his people, and his master as will within him. His strength did not isolate him. He connected him. That connection became his greatest weapon and his greatest shield. Thus, the tale of Yan Di and Luo Feng became a parable whispered across the stars, a reminder that in the endless pursuit of strength, one's heart determines one's destiny. Yandi sought power to elevate himself and lost everything. Luo Feng sought power to protect others and gain the universe, and in that contrast lies the eternal truth of the mountain-sitting guest. Teaching's power without responsibility leads to ruin, but strength born of purpose leads to transcendence. Why so? When the disciples of the mountain-sitting guest finally stood on opposite sides of the cosmic battlefield, their clash was not merely one of strength, it was a confrontation of ideals. Luo Feng, clad in the Calamity Armor, bearing the Star Tower's will, Yan Di wielding the stolen original Soul Hall, burning with bitterness and pride. It was a battle that shook the heavens and echoed through eternity, a duel not only between disciples, but between what they use. Represented selfish ambition versus righteous duty, betrayal versus faith, and greed versus legacy. In the end, Yandi's brilliance faded into obscurity, a cautionary tale for all who chase strength without wisdom. Luo Feng rose, carrying forward the will of his master, the glory of earth, and the unyielding truth that the greatest strength of all lies not in conquering others, but in conquering oneself. The feud of the mountain-sitting guest disciples may have ended in tragedy, but it also illuminated the path of growth, redemption, and truth that every cultivator in the cosmos must walk, because in the world of Swallowed Star, where the strong devour the weak and eternity is but a fleeting spark, it is not power that defines a being's greatness, it is the heart that guides it. Interactive question. Do you believe? Yandi's betrayal was simply the product of his selfish nature, or an inevitable choice in the cruel hierarchy of the cosmos? If you were given Yandi's talent and chances, would you have followed the same path or chosen to fight against the universe itself? For the sake of your people, and so the story of the mountain-sitting guest disciples comes to an end, a tale of brilliance and betrayal, loyalty and loss. Yandi's downfall reminds us that even the most gifted can be consumed by their own desire, while Luo Feng's rise proves that true power is born from purpose, not pride, in a universe where the strong rule and the weak perish. It is easy to lose one's way, yet amidst the endless stars, Luo Feng's journey shines as a reminder that the heart's conviction can overcome even the cold laws of the cosmos. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the secrets of Swallowed Star, do not forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Do you believe Yandi's fate was his own doing, or was he simply another victim of the universe's cruel order? Until next time, keep exploring the hidden truth behind the stars. See you in the next story of Swallowed Star.